Okay, let's dive right in. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to unpack something remarkably simple, but literally a game changer for your mental health. It's called a mental reset. Picture this. It's Friday night. The work week is finally officially behind you. But if you're like most of us, all that weekly noise, it's still just echoing around in your head, right? You're dragging around the weight of unfinished tasks, conversations you didn't have, and just vague anxieties about the future. So instead of just zoning out in front of a screen, what if you could consciously just purge all of that mental clutter? Well, today we're exploring a very specific framework designed to do exactly that. We're going to help you shift from that chaotic Friday feeling into a state of deep, intentional clarity.
Think about your own mind for a second. All day, every single day, you're basically acting as your own editor. You filter your thoughts, you scale back your ambitions to whatever feels, realistic, and you kind of quietly tuck away your deepest desires because they just seem too messy or way too complicated to deal with right now. But what actually happens when you finally drop those mental barriers? Like what happens when, after a brutally long week, you just give yourself absolute, unconditional permission to let the dam break? That's really the narrative arc of our explainer today. It's the story of just firing the editor in your head and figuring out what you actually want.
And that brings us to the core of what we're looking at today. Our roadmap is based on this set of super straightforward, almost blunt instructions, simply titled The Friday Night Brain Cleanse. And the best part? It doesn't ask you to download some complicated app or learn a whole new life philosophy. It's literally just a few lines of text. But within those few lines, that's your blueprint for completely unlocking your mind. We're going to break down every single component of this blueprint to understand exactly why this specific sequence works so incredibly well to wipe your mental slate clean.
Now, right at the top, there's a very specific constraint, 2 hours. It mandates a strict 2-hour time limit. Okay, so this isn't one of those quick 5-minute journaling prompts you squeeze in while you're gulping down your morning coffee. No, this is a deliberate, massive chunk of your Friday night. And that constraint is absolutely crucial because it creates this environment of intense focus. 2 hours literally forces you to get past all those surface-level thoughts. I mean, the first 20 minutes, probably going to be pretty easy. But eventually, you're going to have to just sit in the quiet and dig deep. The time limit makes sure you completely exhaust the superficial noise so your actual, profound truths can finally bubble up to the surface.
To actually kick off this journey, you have to cross a physical threshold, and it starts with the most incredibly simple tools. Step 1, grab a notebook. Step 2, set a timer. That is the whole shebang. But I want you to notice what's glaringly missing here. There's no laptop, no smartphone, no crazy spreadsheet. By requiring a physical analog notebook, the instructions are basically demanding that you unplug from the digital world that probably caused all your stress this week in the first place. Writing by hand physically slows you down. It connects your body to your thoughts. And setting that timer, that makes it a real defined event. You're building a physical container for this exercise, getting ready to go from just consuming information to actually creating your life. All right, so the timer's ticking. Boom. We hit the central command of the cleanse. Write everything you want this year. I really want you to fixate on that word, everything. Actually, scratch that. Focus on the lack of restrictions. It doesn't say write what you think you can pull off. It definitely doesn't say write what your boss or your partner wants for you. It says everything you want. This is where the momentum really starts to build. You are being pushed to think as wildly and expansively as possible about your year ahead. Consider this your official permission slip to be entirely, unapologetically selfish and visionary for the next 120 minutes. Now, to keep you from just, staring blankly at a terrifyingly empty page, the blueprint breaks this massive task down into 5 specific pillars. Let's look at the very first one, career moves. Try to visualize your professional trajectory right this second. Are you feeling a little stuck in the mud? Are you secretly dreaming of a major pivot, a promotion, or maybe even blowing it all up and starting your own business? This is definitely not the time to worry about how your resume looks. This is the moment to get brutally honest about the professional shifts you feel in your gut. Where do you actually want to spend most of your waking hours this year?
Then the second pillar shifts gears completely. Relationships to repair. This one is heavy for sure, but man, it is so important for a genuine brain cleanse. Because success isn't just about climbing the corporate ladder, right? It's about the humans walking right beside us. This is a prompt for some really honest reflection. Is there a stupid argument lingering with a sibling? A great friendship that just kind of faded out? Some weird tension with your partner? Look, you simply cannot have a clear mind if you're lugging around the silent weight of broken connections. Getting it down on paper, acknowledging exactly who needs your attention, is a huge step in clearing that mental slate.
Okay, moving on. The third and fourth pillars bring this awesome rush of energy back into the process. We're talking personal growth and adventure, skills to learn and places to visit. Think about the pure thrill of being a beginner again. Do you want to learn Python, finally speak conversational Spanish, or maybe just figure out how to bake a decent loaf of sourdough bread? And beyond that, what new borders are calling your name? Whether it's driving to a local national park or flying to a totally different continent, these prompts really speed up the brain dump. They challenge you to dream way past your current physical and mental boundaries.
And finally, we hit the fifth pillar, which really acts as the anchor for the whole thing. Money goals. Think about it. You just wrote down sweeping career changes, mending relationships, mastering new skills, and traveling the world. To make literally any of that happen, you've got to have a practical financial foundation. And hey, this isn't about greed. It's just about securing the resources you need to support the life you just designed. Are you trying to wipe out a specific credit card debt, hit a crazy savings milestone, or just bump up your monthly income? Honestly, getting your financial anxieties out of your head and onto the page, it is usually the most relieving part of the entire cleanse. So when you pull all 5 of these categories together, career moves, relationships to repair, skills to learn, places to visit, and money goals, you really start to feel the sheer scale of this exercise. Just imagine your pen moving frantically across the page, right? You jump from a wild career pivot straight down to a dream vacation in Italy, then over to a super difficult conversation you've been avoiding with a friend, and finally down to a massive savings target. This mimics the fast-paced, chaotic act of a true brain dump. By chopping your life up into these 5 pillars, you guarantee that everything you want covers the entire spectrum of your human experience.
Now, here is where we hit the absolute climax of the process, and honestly, the hardest part of the entire thing. Our normal, everyday human habit is organizing and filtering. We desperately want to categorize things, prioritize them, and furiously cross out ideas that seem a little too out there. But the one unbreakable rule of the cleanse is this: no organizing, no filtering. This creates such a fascinating tension. You are going to feel this massive, almost painful urge to edit yourself while you write. You have to fight it. The instructions demand zero resistance. If an idea pops into your head, no matter how wild, completely disjointed, or impossible it seems, it absolutely must go on the paper. You've got to lock your inner critic out of the room for the next 2 hours.
And if you can actually do that, if you can fight that urge to filter for 2 straight hours, you arrive at this beautiful, incredibly calm resolution. You empty your head onto paper. Just imagine the feeling when that 2-hour timer finally beeps. Your hand is probably going to be cramped up, and your notebook is going to be packed with this messy, chaotic, beautiful handwriting. But your mind is going to be completely, wonderfully quiet. You've taken all those floating, buzzing, stress-inducing thoughts and anxieties from the week and physically transfer them out of your brain and onto a physical object. It's this deep mental exhaustion that leads straight into a profound cathartic peace. Which brings us to our final thought. The Friday night brain cleanse is just sitting right there waiting for you to use it. You know the constraints, you know the 5 pillars, and you know the golden rule. Absolutely no filtering. The only unknown variable left is your own mind. So I'm going to leave you with this. When you finally sit down tonight, grab that notebook and that timer starts ticking. What is going to spill onto your paper? What hidden ambitions and entirely forgotten goals are just waiting to be uncovered? Grab a pen and find out. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and enjoy the clarity.